The following program is produced by the Tech Talk Radio Network.
Hey, Bill Nye, the science guy here. Whenever I am listening to the radio, especially Tech Talk Radio, it's just such a party.
Welcome to another episode of Tech Talk Radio. I'm Andy Taylor.
I'm Sean DeWeird.
And I'm Justin Lemmy. Welcome.
It's good to see you all. I know Matt is out today. The story of Matt, though, is something
Matt.
that I think has probably happened to each one of us at some point. Where
I think he said he had computer spaghetti is the proper term for it.
I think the actual quote said it looks like a bomb went off in my office because there's cables and computer parts everywhere.
So he decided to try something different. And I remember, asking him, really? He took his gaming computer, his rig, and moved it into a rack mount computer.
Yeah, he got a couple. So he moved his gaming computer and he put it into a rack mount chassis, and then bought a rack, and then he also bought parts for his wife to have a gaming computer in that same rack. So now they've got two gaming computers in rack mount chassis.
Now,
instead of desktops.
For those who don't know, rack mounts are great because they're space saving. You can have them, all in one place. I mean, I've got an actual rack computer that I've got nothing in it. I was going to use it for a while. I think when I first built my office computer here, I had it in there for a little bit, and I thought, it's taking up too much space for me at that time. And my concern was, do you get good airflow with it? And he was saying it's great. It's actually better.
Well, I mean, if it's depending on where it's at, right? You get the airflow from the rack itself, and if you have it in a not stuffed in a closet with a ton of other gear, it's going to be just fine.
That's right. Yeah. Well, it's pretty good, but that's the problem he ran into. He got it all pulled apart, ready to put in, and oops.
Well, it's not only just the computer too. He is having some issues with the computer as we speak here, but he's also mentioning that he's taking this opportunity to just rewire everything, cable management and all that stuff. So he wants to do it correctly. Kind of like how I redid this after my basement flooded. I took that extra time. You saw the pictures. They're on the website about how I did cable management where you could basically not see any cables anywhere.
Is there products that'll help you in that? Because I know there's probably listeners right now that are going, I need to do my rewiring, whether it be, network cables, audio cables, whatever. Is there products to make that easier?
Absolutely. They're called zip ties.
Velcro
And zip ties.
No, seriously. I mean, I didn't use any specialty. Yes, there are specialty cable management products out there, but I literally just use zip ties.
But there is a special place in a deep, dark dungeon somewhere for those who don't flush cut their zip ties in racks.
Oh my gosh, yes, that is a special place in hell.
If you are going to rack equipment and you don't flush cut your zip ties, I will hunt you down.
Yes, I have gotten so many punctures on my hands from reaching into a rack to grab a cable, and my hand gets punctured by a sharp edge of a zip tie that was not flush cut. I always make sure to flush cut my zip ties.
Can you
because
explain
I
a
never
flush
want to
cut?
experience that.
So there are a specific style of cutters called flush cutters that will cut flat. And you can get right on the back end of the zip tie and cut it.
Where the square part of it is.
You won't even be able to feel it.
Oh.
So if you just cut it and you leave a millimeter of jagged plastic.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
And I reach into the back of the rack and scrape my arm along that. And now I've got a 4-inch gash on my forearm.
Nice.
Because you didn't take the time to flush cut it. I'm going to come punch you in the face.
Yep. Mm-hmm. I'll do one better. I'll just come and bleed all over you.
Yeah. It used to be you would get cut by the metal on the side of the cases. Remember that were built pretty bad?
Oh, that's never going away. If you don't bleed building a computer, you're doing it wrong.
I've always said that too. Every single computer I've built has a drop of blood somewhere in my case.
It's the sacrifice to the PC gods.
Yeah, that's it.
Of course.
You've given your DNA.
Yeah, of course. It's a sacrifice.
Part of the build. I saw something this week too. Do you guys remember the old cases that were you put them on your desk and they had two, maybe 5 1/4 drives that were on it, a couple of bays, and it was just a big square, and it was ugly, and it was beige, and you couldn't see anything on the system itself. You remember those, the older ones?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Well, apparently, Tom's Hardware had a story. It was actually an April Fool's joke about them, selling this retro beige PC case that looked like a 286 computer, right? And apparently, the company Silverstone said, "We're going to make that," and they have made it. And apparently, I'm hoping it'll be available here. They're a Japanese manufacturer, I believe, but the floppy drives, the big floppy drive case, you can flip it up, and then there's USB ports. There's an optical drive that is hidden by that. I mean, it's pretty amazing that they're doing this. I think that would be kind of cool to have on your desk because people come over and look and go, "Oh, look at that ancient thing."
No, it's always fun to have a sleeper, right? That's kind of there's a niche market for that where people take old beige beasts and retrofit new motherboards and new, things into it.
Yeah.
And it's fun to look at. And this one from Silverstone looks like, it looks like you're going to stack the monitor right on top of it, just like you would of a big 17-inch or 18-inch CRT.
Exactly. Those are always kind of fun to have around. But I always wonder, what would happen and how and why? Because the coloring on that case would always go like a dingy yellow. It would just get
just the plastic it's just oxidizing, basically.
Because back then people used to smoke in their homes.
Oh,
that's also
yeah.
true.
Yeah. You ever taken apart a system of a smoker?
It's yes, I have. It's mostly been gaming consoles from a friend of mine whose parents smoked pretty heavily, and they'd be like, "Oh, the fans in my PlayStation 2 quit."
Yeah, and they're all tarred up.
It's awful.
Sticky and tar.
One of our old producer for the show, she had a system, and she would play games on it and stuff, and she told me that it was just like overheating and shutting down. So I told her I would take a look at it for her, and I remember I opened up the case, and number one, it was just dust, but it's a weird dust because it's covered in that tobacco, like it just kind of melds to it. But the fan that was on the graphics card couldn't spin at all. I couldn't even physically move it. It's how caked on that got. And if you are a computer user, even today's computers and all electronics, it's your TVs, your stereos, all of that, it will affect your electronics.
It's gross.
Justin, what are you doing there, Justin? You look.
Oh, I'm just messing around.
You're trying
with. What are you messing around with?
Oh, look at that! What did he do there?
Oh, that looks so good.
Yeah, you got to check out our camera there. Look at, dude, I like that.
Yeah,
that looks so good.
That's my new camera. So, do we want to get into this?
Yeah,
subject now?
let's talk. So Justin went down on the last show that we had. Justin was talking about taking a look at mirrorless technology when it comes to cameras. We had talked about DSLR, mirrorless, and the kind of the benefits of both.
Yeah.
And you saw a video that said mirrorless is the way to go.
Yeah, obviously, I got a lot of my information from Sean. I mean, Sean is the videographer, the photographer of us, right? And I've been looking to get something different, and I hedged a bet on some crypto recently.
Right.
I actually bought a bunch of Dogecoin before the election. Actually, it was funny because it was before. I bought a bunch of Dogecoin right when they announced that Elon Musk was going to do this whole Department of Government Efficiency called
Which, if
Doge.
you think about it, is Doge, right?
Yeah, but it has nothing to do with the actual cryptocurrency. It's just whatever. It just happens to have the same name.
Come on, that can't be a coincidence.
Well, apparently nobody else thought so because people started buying Doge like crazy and the price shot up and I made a considerable amount of money.
Good.
And I was like, you know what? I'm going to buy myself something nice. So I went out and I bought the Sony A7 Mark IV.
Wow.
Which is a $2,800 camera. I got it on like an early Black Friday deal for like $2,300. And it's a really nice camera. I mean,
the lens is amazing.
Yeah, the lens is really nice. The quality is really good. I mean, I can't stop staring at myself actually watching this right now.
I know that your other camera's a Nikon, right?
The other camera's a Nikon, but it also that one, the Nikon that I used, it doesn't do the streaming like it does what this one does. So the Nikon would do like up to 5 minutes of streaming and then it would just shut off.
Yeah.
This one will do four. So not only will it take mirrorless full frame images, it will do 4K video at 60 frames a second. It's got 2 memory slots in it. So I have on the memory slot 1, I have a 512 gig SD card that I shoot RAW. So RAW images, if you don't know what RAW is literally just RAW. I mean, it is all of the data that the camera can get.
There's
when it
no
takes a
compression,
photo.
right?
There's
Yeah.
no compression.
There's no
at all.
compression.
It is uncompressed RAW images. Obviously, it takes up a lot more space, but the benefit of shooting in RAW is then when you go and you import those into, let's say, Lightroom, Adobe Lightroom, you got a lot more to work with because there's a lot more data there. So you can adjust the lighting effects and other things that you wouldn't be able to do with a normal JPEG. Now, in slot number 2 of the camera, I have a 64 gig memory card that I shoot JPEG on. So if I need to do a quick JPEG shot and just hand it off to somebody, I've got those images on JPEG. Another really cool feature of it is that the camera is Bluetooth and Wi-Fi. So on my phone, I have an app from Sony called Creator. I think it's called Creators Club or something like that.
Right.
And so if I shoot a photo, I can instantly transfer it to my phone and then I can just text it to somebody and say, here's your photo.
Oh my God! I gotta say, I'm not kidding. For our listeners that are intrigued by this, they're thinking they may want to stream one day or do something. This is the best image I have ever seen for a stream, and I'm hoping that our session that we post online will do it justice. Because really, Justin, this is a tremendous picture.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at the three of us here, and obviously I've got the best quality image. That
now
I
he has to rub it in.
Oh, totally. And then Sean, I would say Sean's number 2. Andy, you got to step up your game, bro.
And I am running a Logitech 4K.
Well,
the Brio.
I'm running a Logitech. My other camera is a Logitech. Here, let me switch back to the other camera let me go back.
All
this
right.
is the other camera.
It's good. It's good.
It's okay. I mean, it's a webcam, but like going back to the other, I think I can't. I got to go back to the other one. This one's so much better.
Oh, it is. It's a softer.
It's right.
The
So
colors
it's
are
like there's a
warmer.
lot of factors here, right? Like it's a better angle, I think. You have more depth of field, so like your background's just out of crisp. It's not crispy like your other one. Your other one, like, everything's in focus, right? We can see your background.
Yeah.
This just adds a little bit of a more intimate element, right? It's like we're in your space, but we're not.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it looks like I'm
really
actually there with you.
Yeah. It really
I like
does.
it. Now, I don't have my tripod set up. Otherwise, I would have actually put this up on the tripod, and I may do that. I may go out and buy a second tripod just for this camera and then use this as my primary webcam.
How is it now? How is this? This is an A7, right? Is
A7 Mark IV.
How is this connecting to your computer for this stream?
Just USB. I just plugged a USB cable into it. That's all I did.
So is it HDMI out to USB or
no? They do. It does have an HDMI output on it, but I'm literally just going USB-C right into my computer. That's all it is.
That is amazing. That is
so a lot of the
bitrate's
manufacturers
really
a lot of the manufacturers during COVID released beta versions of USB control. Right. So Canon said, "Oh, here's a USB version for all of our EOS cameras."
Right.
Sony said, "We've been doing it, but here's a better version."
Yeah. Nikon was like, "No, screw you."
Yeah, Nikon pretty much said, kick rocks. We don't want your crappy cameras on.
Yeah.
We don't want it to.
We don't want our amazing cameras to be used for webcams.
They were worried about the quality over USB, right? They were worried about the low bit rate, the low, But with USB-C and the speeds you can get over USB-C, it's been fine. I mean, just look at Justin's camera; it's fantastic.
I mean, the camera is fantastic. Now, I do have to say, I can notice a little bit of a delay when I move my hands or whatever. I notice a little bit of a delay, which is fine. That could also be because I literally just plugged this in without letting it reboot the computer. Like obviously it installed a driver or two, but maybe I need to reboot the computer to make it better. But I would say I'm truly impressed.
I am noticing too. It is adjusting automatically to the light in the room. So as you kind of
Focus, yeah.
it's that's really a great look.
It's
All
gonna
right, so
take gonna take some tweaks, but it's
Yeah, the light balance isn't quite right. But again, if I put it up where my main light is, I think it would be even better. But right now, I just don't have that ability.
well, you're gonna as you get more comfortable with the settings, right? You're gonna be able to say, especially with the A7s, right? You're gonna be able to fine tune. You're gonna be able to say, okay, here's my face.
Yep.
I want you to always expose for my face.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And this actually has that feature built in.
Correct.
When you're taking photos, it'll actually do eye tracking. So it knows when a person's looking at the camera, and it will actually automatically take the photo when the person's looking at the camera.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah,
so
it's
like
really
we
cool.
get like the AI stuff that is coming with some of the newer versions of cameras is fantastic.
Yeah.
You can with the Canon version. My buddy Steve has the new version for his R5.
All right.
And it actually has intelligent facial tracking, meaning you can take a picture, go into that picture on your camera, say, this is my primary target. Whenever you see this target in frame, take a picture.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow. Wow.
Oh, and if you don't see that person, but you see this person, a secondary target, take a picture instead.
All right. So now, obviously, you didn't get this for just webcamming and using it for like this show and some other projects that you're working on. You want to take photos with it. Have you had that ability to experience going out, taking a photo in different environments?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't had a lot of experience. I've only had it for a couple days now, but I did post a bunch of photos on Facebook. We went out to Adventure Golf, which is a property that Highland Hills owns, that a company I work for. It's a mini golf course. So they have like this holiday lights where everything's lit up and Christmas lights, and you can go and play mini golf. And so I took it out there to test what the low light capability was, and
Right.
I was pretty impressed. I mean, I wouldn't say it's excellent. It's good. I would probably give it like a 7 or 8 out of 10 in terms of quality. But then I also took it out to CU Boulder, which is, the university right up north of Denver there, up in Boulder. We went up there and we walked around, and I took a few photos of Misa and Eric, and then Eric actually took a couple photos of Misa and I.
Oh, wow.
And even the photos themselves are good, but I really honestly, I've never played around with Lightroom until yesterday or the day before.
Oh, and working with raw images in Lightroom, it's amazing.
Lightroom is absolutely fantastic. If you are a photographer of any sort, you don't have to be a professional photographer. Even if you're an amateur photographer, Lightroom works wonders. I mean, it is amazing what you can do with Lightroom. You can do touch-ups. You can adjust the gamma, the color, the vignette. I mean, all the other. There's just so many things you can do with Lightroom, and that's why when I posted those photos online, some people might think, "Wow, that's an amazing camera. It can take some amazing photos." Yeah, but I used Lightroom, and so Lightroom really kind of fills in the gaps, if you will, where the camera can't. But the data is all there on the photo. So the camera captures all the data. You just have to massage it a little bit to get those images the way you want them to look.
It's funny because you think about it the last few years about adjusting photos, and Sean, I know this is right up your alley as well. Everybody always says Photoshop. Got to do Photoshop. Got to know Photoshop. Got to know, the different AI topaz. But honestly, Lightroom is what people should really learn to work with when it comes to. I mean, Photoshop's
Absolutely.
great. Don't get me wrong, but Lightroom is really the first step.
Totally, absolutely, Sean. I mean, you have experience with Lightroom, right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I'm exactly the person to talk to about editing photos, right? I do bare minimum editing of my photos. Like,
Yeah.
a lot of my editing is obviously post-processing, but it's just to bring out some highlights or bring out some
that's
shadows.
what Lightroom is. That's what Lightroom is.
But I'm not doing any manipulation to. I'm not removing anything. I'm not adding anything. I'm not doing any AI stuff. So, but there's a lot of tools that I don't utilize. Those features just detract from what I feel like my art is.
So
There you go. Yeah.
So one of those pictures that I took from CU Boulder, there were people in the background. And when I went into Lightroom and I just hit the auto button just to see what the auto button would do, it automatically detected Misa and I as the primary subjects because we were in center frame.
Right.
But then it highlighted all of the people in the background. It would just put a little bit of a silhouette around them automatically.
Right.
And then it asked me, do you want to get rid of these people? And for a moment there, I'm thinking,
man.
wow, that's a little dark.
Yeah.
Like the way, like, but I was like, yeah. And it was like, okay. And it, boom, it got rid of all the people in the background.
And it kind of fills with the,
it mixes it all in. It makes it look like a real photo. It doesn't like just put like a weird blurry image or whatever. No, it just completely removed the people in the background and perfectly filled it in. And I was like, wow, this is pretty cool.
We have seen like the AI that's involved in the editing process in our smartphones. Now I've not, I mean, I still have my iPhone. I've been using my Google Pixel 9, which I'm pretty impressed. I am pretty impressed with it. There are some times where I get a little let down by it, but I mean, the AI has gotten so much better in our smartphones. Like I'm sure the 16 from iPhone has got to be pretty good. And to see what's going to be coming out in the next couple of years is going to be pretty amazing when it comes to taking a photo, the editing process, and really giving it just a great look.
Yeah, I mean, it's just going to get better from here, to be honest.
Yeah,
it is, right? I have come a long ways from my what 2 years ago.
You're anti-AI?
I'm never going to do AI, right? I was very anti-AI.
Yeah.
And I'm still anti some
Yeah.
AI, right? I'm in a pilot at Notre Dame for the ChatGPT stuff, and it's been fantastic for what I'm using it for. And I'm utilizing it for a lot of things at work, which is great. What I'm still not going to do with it is I've been using it a little bit to create some synopsis of my D&D sessions, which has been great. But I still feel like that's pushing the boundary for me on being creative with AI. Allowing AI to do art for me.
Mm-hmm.
Because I still feel like AI, as people create things and find that AI can do it for free or for cheap, we're just going to get we're going to hit a weird plateau of
Uncanny Valley?
generated art.
Yeah.
And I just feel like we're taking the human element out of art, and that's the whole point of art is the human element.
So,
no, I agree with you.
Back in the 90s, I actually started a company that we did graphics, desktop publishing. We would use Aldus PageMaker and then Adobe PageMaker, and we would use that, and we would create flyers, and we were always busy, folders, the whole bit. Now somebody could go onto Canva. And they can create that just by telling it, this is what I want, and it's done. I always thought maybe I'll get back into the business. No, there's no point now. I mean, honestly, because people can do it themselves, and they're finding that out.
Yeah. I mean, we use Canva at work. I don't personally have a license for Canva, but I know that we have a bunch of people that do. And yeah, it makes their life a lot easier when they can just go to Canva and say, I want to create a promotional image for this particular event, and here's the information, and bam, it just does it.
Yeah, I'm really wondering, do you think, Sean, at some point we're going to get into a feature film or even a TV series that's done with AI?
I can't imagine we're not seeing stuff generated already that we just don't know about.
Oh, there's plenty of it in movies right now.
Yeah,
I mean,
I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure, right? But this is where a lot of the SAG strike came from.
Yeah, that's right.
A lot of the SAG strike came from they weren't getting enough money from streaming rights and things like that. But also they wanted the film industry to basically commit to not using AI-generated content for X amount of years or whatever. I don't know what the ultimate bargaining rights came out to be, but I know that AI was a big part of it.
Mm-hmm.
And so for any SAG movies, right, you're not going to see that kind of stuff. But the independent films are just going to be rife with AI content. That's just what it's going to be. Now, who can win awards when it's AI generated?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, exactly.
Good point.
Right? Think about it, right? Okay, I create this film that just is so good, everybody loves it, and now all of a sudden it's up for best
picture. Yeah.
Or best actor,
best picture. Who is it?
Good point. But if you look at if you look at the Marvel films, now it's all about, the visual effects and what they're doing in that, and that could be huge. Anyways, you still have a human element in it, but if you take out all that human element, what are we going to be left with?
Yeah, that's gonna be scary.
It's like I said, we're gonna be at this weird place where AI is gonna get so good that you're not really sure. It's the uncanny valley, right?
Yeah.
We've talked about this before. It's a term that not a lot of people knew about, but it's going to become more and more prevalent. It's that weird, uneasy feeling that you get when you watch something that you think is real, but it's not.
I will say, while we were let down by Luke Skywalker, Mark Hamill's appearance in The Mandalorian.
Oh, that was really bad AI.
That was really
bad CGI.
That was CGI, and it was so bad. However, Harold Ramis, that was in Ghostbusters, because he had passed away. They recreated it, but it was Harold Ramis's character coming back as if he was in the afterlife.
Yeah,
it was so well done. I remember watching it going, oh my God, did he shoot this before he died? I mean, obviously not, but it was just so amazing. So well done. So it can be, depending on the artist that's creating it, that believability and, maybe taking a step out of the uncanny valley.
Sure. Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, and to kind of answer Sean's question about like who would get an award, I guess you would say, it'd probably be it would be a lot more technical awards given out.
Yeah.
Instead of artistic awards, it'd be a technical award.
I feel like there would be a whole new category of just here, but what's stopping somebody from submitting? Like, the proving that it's AI is going to be difficult down the road, right?
Yeah, right.
So I could submit a film and say, no, this is a real actor, and then they could be like, prove it or not. Like,
Show me your birth certificate.
Right. So, I mean, I just think it's going to be a weird next decade for consuming media.
Absolutely. All right, we're going to take a quick break. Come back. I do want to ask Justin another question about his camera. Again, we'll give you that camera that we'll tell you what it is in case you missed it, but it's pretty amazing. You see the video on our blog.techtalkradio.com. I'm Andy Taylor.
I'm Sean DeWeird.
And I'm Justin Lummy. Find us on the web, techtalkradio.com, as Andy just said. Be right back.
And now, back to Tech Talk Radio.
So we have been spending the first segment of the show just eyeballing Justin's new camera.
Ogling. How do you pronounce it? Ogling?
Eyeballing works, too.
Okay.
Sure. What do you think, Sean? Oogling? What are we doing?
Oogling?
Drooling?
Yeah.
Drooling, yeah.
And it's not you. Sorry, Justin. It's not you. It's the camera. It's pretty amazing. Did you go with a standard lens? And what camera is it again for our listeners that maybe didn't catch the first segment? And we tell you, hit the blog, watch the video. It's on our YouTube. You can subscribe as well.
Yeah. So the camera is a Sony A7 Mark IV. So A7 M4. It does come with a kit lens, and I don't, without having to interrupt the video stream here, I can't really tell. It is a 3.5 to 5.6, 28 to 70 millimeter lens.
You bought this separately, or it came with it?
No, it came with it. Now, you can buy the body by itself for let's see. The Black Friday deal had the camera by itself for 21 or the kit for 24. Right. And that was like with $600 off on both. So, wow. Add 600 to it for the full price. But yeah, so 2,400 is what I paid. It would have been closer to 3,000 out the door if it wasn't a Black Friday sale. Wow. But it is one of the upper line. Now, it's not the top of the line Sony. Now, the top of the line Sony is like the A1 or even the A9, depends on which way you want to go with it. But the A7 Mark IV is about a year old. It got released last year. But it is a very, very good, I would even say entry level. It is like more of a mid-level camera.
Right.
It's at the bottom end of the professional level, right? There we go. It's not prosumer, right? It's a tier above prosumer. That's where I'm going to put it, right?
Wow. But it looks amazing.
It's an entry level professional camera. That's where I'll put the A7s.
Now you were kind of impressed, Sean, by the lighting, even right now what we're looking at.
Right. So we were talking about it in the break, and I said, Justin, I'm really impressed at how there's no chromatic abrasions or aberrations, whatever the
and I'm like, I have no idea what that means.
In the green and the blue lights behind you, right? So it's the lens and the camera are doing a good job of identifying that that's actually green, and not like if you oversaturate a pixel with a certain color, it starts to get weird. I like to tell people it looks like when you try and shoot it's something in low blue light.
Right.
Let me try something real quick. Hold on.
The blue starts to get like blocky and kind of just muddy.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what that is. And it's just the camera not interpreting the colors very well. But
give me a second here.
What
I think Justin's trying to change the color of his
Is he
lights.
trying to change the color of the room. Oh, look at that.
Ooh,
That's pretty amazing,
lighting.
too. So for those listening, not watching, he just changed the color of his lights because what are you using, Wise? Are you
using Casa, TP-Link Casa. So I went from like a bluish green on some of the lights. Now I'm doing straight red across the board.
right?
And that looks pretty good. And then let me try this. This is more of a purplish blue.
Wow.
And then here's straight green all the way across.
It's so nice. It's got a warm feel to it.
Yeah.
That's a pretty darn good camera. I'm wondering, Sean, if I was to hook up my Canon 7D or even my Rebel T1, could I get
You might have to update the firmware
right
to get the USB support, but
You ain't gonna get good. You're not gonna look as good as this. I'm sorry. You're just not.
well, this is
speaking
pretty
of
good, though.
Because I look darn good.
speaking of lighting, we haven't touched upon.
Sorry, I had to adapt my lighting.
Oh,
too.
look at
Ah.
Sean.
Oh no! My camera just shut off.
Oh no!
Yep. And it turned its. Oh my god! My battery's dead. I think.
Is that why? Oh, boy.
Hold
That's
on,
funny.
Let me see.
You're
Let me see.
gonna have to plug it in now.
The joys of playing with new technology,
I know,
not charging the
right?
batteries.
Well, you know what's funny is I'm still talking to you. You can't see me, but I don't know if I have. No, I have 53% battery left.
So I wonder what happened. Did it overheat?
I don't know. Hold on. Let me switch it back on.
No,
here.
if it overheated, that'd be really.
Oh,
poor,
actually,
and I would
yeah.
send
It
back.
is actually kind of warm.
It's
Right?
also sitting on top of your computer.
That's true. Yeah, you're right.
Oh yeah, there you go. All right, you're back.
Yeah, there we go. I'm back.
All right, which I want to bring up another point too. We didn't talk about this. Lighting. You're adjusting the lighting. TP-Link you're using. I know, Sean, you're using Wise. We didn't talk about your outdoor lighting, which we kind of hinted to that last week. For anybody that is thinking about doing permanent we'll call them permanent Christmas lights. You could use them year round, of course. How did this whole process go?
Well, I mean, I've been thinking about doing permanent lights for many years. It's been cost prohibitive. I mean, I think the main player in the permanent light system was I want to say it's Jellyfin or Jellyfish,
Right.
one of the two. I'm kind of leaning toward more Jellyfin. But anyway, when I looked at how much it would cost to do Jellyfin, it was like $10,000.
Oh my Lord! Oh wow!
Yeah. But I mean, they obviously have a lifetime guarantee and whatever, and they come out and install it. But I was like, that's ridiculous for what it is. Now, I do have a neighbor who went with Jellyfin, and it looks amazing.
Right.
But for that price, I was just like, I'm sorry, it's just ridiculous. Now, fast forward 4 years from that initial conversation with that guy, this guy bought a different house. And he actually went with in Brighton on the new house. So he left the Jellyfin on the old house,
Right.
and went with in Brighton. Now, in Brighton is EN Brighton.
Okay.
InBrightonMe.com is the website. Costco is selling kits of in Brighton permanent outdoor holiday lights in 100-foot strings.
Right.
For about $160.
Wow. All right.
Now they come in black if your house is more of a darker color. They also come in white if the house is a whiter color. So it kind of blends in with the fascia, the overhangs, the eaves of your homes.
So this way it'll pass more HOA regulations.
It would be more likely to pass HOA if it kind of more blended in with it. So the process is actually pretty simple. So when you buy these in Brighton kits, they actually come in 4 sections of 16 and a half feet. And they come with these little round mounting brackets that have 3M sticky tape on it. So what you do is you get up there, you mount the very first one, you take off the 3M tape, you stick it where you want it to go, and then you take a screw and screw it in there so it sticks permanently. Then you take the light and you pop it into the socket, and then you just kind of stretch it out to see where the next light's going to go. And you know exactly where you got to put the next one. Then you put the next sticky thing, screw it in, pop it in, next light, sticky it, screw it in, pop it in.
Right.
It goes really quickly. I was able to do a little bit of it. I don't really like to do ladders all that much.
Me neither.
So I did what I could with a 6-foot ladder, but then I hired a guy to come out and he did the rest of it. And he got up on like 35-foot ladders, went all the way up to the top of my house, did all of the eaves, all the way around the side, all the way through the back, everything. He did all of it. And I think he charged me like $380 or so to do it. But now I don't have to worry about holiday lights ever again.
And if like during Halloween you want to put up orange and black, you could. You could change
they
them
have
all.
Preset. They actually have. Yeah, they are RB. Hold on. Red, green, RGB, ICW.
There you go. Right.
RGB, IC. So they're individually controlled. So you can change every single light to what you want it to be. But that also means that the lights can chase each other. They can all change colors. They can do all these cool effects. So like they have presets on here. So for instance, Halloween, we did a mode called lightning. And what it would do is it would have it kind of like like a dark purple with a little bit of orange. And then all of a sudden it would go boom and it would flash and all the lights would turn on really bright, like a lightning strike. And then it would go dim again. Or we can do 4th of July where all the lights are red, white, and blue, and they all just chase each other around the house. Or we can do Christmas where they're red, white, blue, and green. Or you can do St. Patty's Day where they're going to be mostly green. But you can do all these different effects where they're chasing, they're fading, they're blinking, they're flashing, they're solid. Or I can just simply do white and just have the house illuminated in white.
Wow. That is amazing.
It's so cool. And it's all done through an app.
So the lights themselves, Costco, somebody could pick them up, or they can go online, find out more info about them. And then maybe find, if you don't feel like getting up on a ladder, just find somebody that wants to make a few extra bucks, and we'll climb up there. Now, what happens though if one of the light bulbs goes out?
Well, I mean, and Brighton does have a lifetime guarantee on their lights. So I'm assuming when they say lifetime guarantee, I'm assuming like 10 years or so, because
amazing, right?
There's no way LEDs are going to last literally a lifetime. What would happen is, again, they come in 16-foot lengths. So I can simply go to the point where the light has failed, unscrew with the weatherproof cap, unscrew that strand, pop it out of the molding bracket or the mounting bracket, and just pop in a new set of 16.5-foot lights.
Oh, wow.
And then I just reboot the system. It recognizes the new string of lights, and bam, we're off to the races.
That's pretty good stuff. I like it. We'll put a picture of. Can we put a picture of the house up on our blog?
Just blur out my address.
All right, blog.techtalkradio.com. We'll do that. All right. We do have a listener question. I thought we'd go ahead and see if we can get to before we have to take another break. My son has already given me his list of stuff he would like for the holidays. I like it. He's being proactive. I like that. He said one of the things he asked for was a mechanical keyboard with a question mark. Ooh. He has a keyboard with his computer, and he said it's not mechanical and it would help him type better with a question mark. Is this true? Question mark. So I listen every weekend to your show, and I try to pick it all up, but I'm lost in this one. Is there a brand better than the others? That's from Melody in Saurita. All right. It's a good question. Mechanical keyboard versus, say, just a Logitech keyboard or a keyboard you may find in Walmart or Best Buy.
So as we're talking about this question, I'm rebooting my cool camera, and it just happens to be looking at my mechanical keyboard.
Ooh.
So I have the Corsair mechanical keyboard. Now, I have to say, I used to be the same type of person where I was kind of like, I don't know about mechanical keyboards. Like, I don't see what the big deal is. It's just a big fad, whatever. No. Right. Once I got a mechanical keyboard, it is game changing. And I don't mean game as in video game. Yes, it helps with video games, but the tactile feedback that you get from a mechanical keyboard is, you cannot match that with a whatever digital keyboard or whatever you want to call it. It just feels better. I mean,
And that's
think
the
about
clicking
it.
of the. He said it would help him type better. Could it actually do that?
Yeah, absolutely. And think about it as a parent. Now, I'm assuming this is the parent talking here. Imagine going back to like the early 90s or even the 80s when you were on a keyboard. Those keyboards that were everywhere on every computer, those were mechanical keyboards. The loud clickety clack keyboards.
Right.
They were all mechanical because that's how they started. They started with mechanical, and then somebody came up with this whole idea of let's make them digital, which is great. They're silent,
Right.
but you don't get that tactile feedback that you would with a mechanical. So yes, I highly recommend a mechanical keyboard.
And brand wise, I know Logitech has a mechanical keyboard. Corsair, Steel Series,
Razer.
They're all over the place, and I don't think one brand is particularly better than the other. Right? You just kind of maybe get an idea of what he wants to do with his mechanical keyboard. Right? Does he want it to be fancy and light up? Does he want it to
simply
be
ask him.
super loud? Does he want it to be? Yeah, ask him. Like,
ask him what brand.
Go to
what
Best
brand do
Buy.
you like?
Yeah,
what brand do you
Best
like?
Buy. Yeah, Best Buy has them.
Yeah,
all the brands.
Totally.
So
Yeah,
they can actually
absolutely.
try and
has
type
some.
with them. Yeah, exactly. I don't know if Walmart has a lot of them.
Yeah, they got a couple.
They have some.
Yeah. All right. Well, good. We got to take another quick break. We come back with more of Tech Talk Radio. We got some good stuff to tell you about. I'm Andy Taylor.
I'm Sean DeWeird.
And I'm Justin Lemmy. Send us an X at Tech Talk Radio. We'll be right back.
Now, back to Tech Talk Radio.
So I'm not sure what you guys were up to this last Friday, but I tried, and an emphasis on the word try, I tried to watch the spectacle that was Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson on Netflix.
You mean the Friday before last? Yes, definitely. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, what a horrible, horrible showcase of technology that was. I mean, you couldn't watch it. I mean, there were so many people. It was the number one trending topic on X, which is formerly Twitter.
Right.
That people just could not get in. They could not watch it. Netflix just kept buffering, and they would just, if you could watch it, it was completely pixelated. There were just a handful of people that I've talked to that have said, I didn't have any issues. And I'm like, well, you should go buy a lottery ticket because you're one of the lucky ones, because the rest of us, the millions and millions of people, couldn't do it. Now, my concern is, so somebody brought up a point today. My boss actually brought up a point. He said, well, I don't understand why Netflix couldn't do this, because Amazon Prime, they do it all the time. They got, live TV. They do the Thursday Night Football on Amazon Prime. They never have any buffering alerts. And I said, well, there's two things to that. One, this was a worldwide event. Everybody knows who Mike Tyson is.
Right.
You have people all over the world trying to get into Netflix versus Thursday Night Football. You're not going to get that many people.
Good point.
Two, Amazon owns Amazon Web Services, which is their server farm, basically their data centers, right? That's what they use to do Thursday Night Football or any other type of live TV that they do, right? They own that. Netflix, however, is a customer of Amazon Web Services.
Oh, man.
They have to pay for servers. Like if you ever dig into the technical data of your Netflix stream, you will see that the server that you're hitting is always going to say something about like 123 AWS dot something, right? Or AWS, AWSL something, whatever, because they're using Amazon Web Services. Now, my point is, though, you're talking about the number one streaming platform on planet Earth.
Right.
That could not figure out that this is going to be a huge deal. If your engineers come to you and say, hey, we need 100 servers, don't give them 100 servers. Give them 200 servers. This has happened time and time again for the past decade. Anytime there was a major release of, like, let's say an online video game or a major release of a streaming service of some sort of streaming, it always fails. And nobody ever learns their dang lesson.
Right.
Like, come on. How hard is it to know that, hey, this happened in about 2 years ago and it failed? We should probably double our infrastructure.
So you mentioned Thursday Night Football, and you mentioned the viewership numbers, and I just looked them up. What do you think, Andy and Justin, you guys can both guess, what do you think the viewership of Thursday Night Football is?
Ooh, boy, I don't know.
Let's say 7 million.
Close.
Really?
Andy?
Okay.
I would have to go with around about the same 7 or 8 million.
So averaging 12.6 million viewers for Thursday Night Football.
Okay.
All right.
So on a week-to-week basis.
Now,
How many?
How many watched Netflix's Tyson Paul fight?
I know this answer. No.
60 million.
60 million
people. Yeah.
Wow.
60 million people were streaming.
Yeah.
That's a lot of bandwidth.
But the
That
thing
is.
is you talk about these companies like Amazon Web Services or Netflix or whoever, right? They have the ability to scale immediately.
Yeah.
Like they can spin up virtual machines. They can spin up virtual servers at the click of a button. If they're like, oh man, we're at 100% capacity, spin up another couple servers. Bam, done. I don't understand how they could not just spin up another 100 servers or whatever. Maybe it wasn't even the servers that were the problem. It could have been their internet connection. Like maybe they just didn't have a big enough internet pipe to serve all these people.
So we tried watching it. It was 4 times that it would start to pixelate, and then we would just get the ring, where it was like trying to reconnect. I would just exit and then go right back into it, and we were able to watch it. And now this is funny because I've never sat and watched a fight because normally they're on pay-per-view, or something like that. But it was because it was on Netflix. I thought, hey, let's check this out. And, and I Mike Tyson's going to just clean the ring with this guy. And wow,
Yeah, that didn't happen.
there were some big surprises that night.
Hell yeah.
I don't know. Sean, did you try and watch it? Did you have buffering?
Yeah, so I was on, and we were actually streaming some of the earlier fights, right? Because we wanted to watch the featherweight fight, which the fight before Tyson and Paul was actually
the two women
was
Oh my god.
Yeah.
such a good fight.
Yeah.
Like if you're a boxing fan, that fight was way more entertaining than the Tyson Paul fight. That fight was great. We were all trying. There was about a dozen of us trying to watch it on
Right.
individually, trying to stream individually, and then it all came down to we can't get in, he can't get in, he can't get in. Finally, one of the guys we were watching was like, I got in. And then he tried to stream it on Discord, but Discord DMCA just a black screen.
Did it
You
really?
hear the audio,
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
you couldn't
Well,
stream it. So
so-
then I was in, and I tried to stream it through OBS, but OBS, DMCA, Chrome, they
Yep.
all have DMCA. So if you try and view it inside of another application, it just shows you a black screen. Finally, somebody was able to find an illegal stream that was able to put it into Discord, and we all watched it on his stream.
Not that we
all
condone that kind of
watched
activity.
his live stream on Discord.
Yes.
So I actually watched it somewhat legally because I went when I was on X. I was complaining. I was tweeting at Netflix. I was calling them names. I was saying some things that'll probably don't want to repeat on air. But I found the former wide receiver Antonio Brown. He was at the event in a suite. And he was like, he could see all the people talking on X, like, hey, this is not working. This is not working. He goes, you know what? I'm just going to go live. So he went live on X
Great.
and mounted his phone on the railing overlooking the field of the AT&T Stadium. Because, they have that massive Jumbotron in the center.
Right.
So he was basically streaming the fight on X from his point of view. And it was totally legal because it was just his point of view. It wasn't like it was taking the stream or whatever.
Right.
It was his point of view. When I tuned in, there was 1.7 million viewers. When Tyson Paul took the ring, there was 9 million people watching his live stream.
Yeah, because people were calling people going, hey, it's going to start. It's going to start. And that's when people were kind of tuning in for that. I missed the whole thing with Tyson's backside. That I didn't see, and I probably
Oh my God! Everybody was talking about that.
I'm probably glad I found out about it afterwards. But either way, yeah, it was interesting. Speaking of this too, and the amount of people, Twitter, a lot of people said that's it. They were done with Twitter, so they were moving over to BlueSky. And BlueSky, if you don't know, was created by the guys that started Twitter, and apparently it's open source. So. People were going, and I remember when BlueSky was first announced, I thought, I'll kind of sign up for this. And the thing is, people have a need on social media to complain about something. So they complained about Twitter. They complained about the environment they were feeling that was on Twitter. And what were they doing? They go on to BlueSky, and I start getting connections on Blue Sky, and you can follow us, Tech Talk Radio. But right away, it was political there. And I just do not want any of the politics. Left, right, I wanted this experience on Twitter, I would like that to go away, and for being political, and the same with Blue Sky. But Blue Sky became political, but on the other, it's like facing more to the left. And it was like, come on, people.
So I actually had a conversation with somebody because I was mentioning that I was on X, and they were like, "Oh my God, you're one of those right wingers," and I'm like, "What are you talking about? Like X is not, Well, I was told that this person was obviously leaning towards the left, and we're not going to get political with this thing." But I told him, I said, "No, you're wrong. It's not. It's what the content that you want to curate." Exactly. And the thing is if you interact with those posts, if you hover over those posts, or you click on those posts, or you look at those comments, it's going to think that you want to know more about that. It's going to show you. So what I've done on my personal X account is I've curated it. I've not blocked. I've said, I don't want to see this content.
Or
I don't want to see
words.
this content.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or keywords. And I've curated my X feed now to be exactly what I want it to be. And I very rarely see any political content. So it's just people that are complaining over nothing. They're just too lazy to do that.
There's a lot of people that just love to complain. And this is both sides of the aisle. But again, Blue Sky is there. If you are on there, connect with us. And, we'll talk games. We talk tech.
We just don't talk politics.
No. That's going to take another quick break. We come back with more of Tech Talk Radio. I'm Andy Taylor.
I'm Sean DeWeird.
And I'm Justin Lummy. Find us on that other social media site, Facebook. Facebook.com/Tech Talkers. We'll be right back.
And now, back to Tech Talk Radio.
Hey, everybody, this is Gary Ho-Ho-Hoey, and you are hanging out with Tech Talk Radio. Enjoy.
So, Rhonda emailed us a question.
All right.
And she said, and this, I think I'm the right one to answer this.
All right.
She said, I have some old VHS tapes in the garage, and they don't have labels.
Oh.
What's the best way to get them converted to DVDs? Is it expensive? Rhonda from Tucson.
All right.
Well, Rhonda, for one, I'm going to tell you not to convert it to DVD.
No, really?
I'm just going to tell you to get it converted to a digital format that you can play on your computer. Don't get a DVD. DVDs are just going to take up space. You're going to have to dig out the DVD player to put it in, because when was the last time you put a DVD in a DVD player?
Well,
Would that be like...
What if they're going to say, well, I want to show it on my TV, right? Most TVs come with a USB slot now. So you can put a USB stick in the USB slot and show your pictures that way.
Would be like what, MP4 format?
Yeah,
well, that's for video.
So you could work that out, and I'm sure the people. So there is a service that I would recommend called Legacy Box.
Okay.
You tell them I have X amount of digital content that I want to be digitized. They'll send you a box based on the amount of stuff you've told them. You pack it in the box, you ship it to them, and they digitize it for you. And
then they send you back the original tapes, anyways, right?
I believe you can either. I'm sure you can either tell them to destroy it, or you can get it all shipped back to you, depending on what you want to do with it. But they are doing a sale right now. I just went to their website because I was looking it up. $8 a tape.
Ooh, that's not bad. Yeah.
So if you want to do it, get on there, check it out. Legacybox.com. I've not personally used them because I do my own digitizing, but I've had friends and family that have used Legacy Box, and they've had great success. So,
nice.
Legacybox.com.
I wanted to mention, too, we recently took a look when it comes to photo scanning at that Epson Fast Photo 680W, which I finally sent back to Epson. Loved it. I scanned so many pictures, and it is pretty fast. A little slower if you're doing it 600 DPI. And you're right, Sean, it did go up to 1200 DPI. But I sent you a picture today. Apparently, Visioneer has got one now.
You sent me a link earlier today, and I checked it out, and I'm going to try to either get it for Christmas or convince somebody in my family to buy it for me.
It's the PH70 high-speed photo scanner, and it's about $100 cheaper than the Epson. Now, quality-wise, I don't know. I'm going to try and actually see if we can get in touch with the company, try it out, and then we could kind of compare the quality of the scans and the speed of that as well. But again, B&H Photo had that from Visioneer, and I've used their. Matter of fact, I think I had a flatbed scanner that was a Visioneer and absolutely loved it.
Well, I did a little research today because I'm seriously I have so many pictures to scan out of my family's archive, right? So this is going to be a solution for me, but it's whether it's the Epson or the Visioneer. The Visioneer, if you buy it from their website, you get a year subscription to the software that will that you can tag people's faces, and as you scan, it will tag the metadata with those people in there.
Oh, wow.
In those photos.
Cool.
So if you scan a ton of photos, it will automatically tag them with the people that are in them that you've identified. It's like saying like my Uncle Tom, my Aunt Kathy, my mom, my dad, et cetera, et cetera. Then as you scan, future pictures will have that data tagged.
Oh, I love it. That's great. All right,
is really cool.
We've run out of time for this week's show. Definitely hit up our blog.techtalkradio.com. We'll have more content up there. In the meantime, have yourselves a great Thanksgiving. Of course, that's going to be coming up. And then don't forget Black Friday. Maybe next week we could share some tips for safe shopping with Cyber Monday. I'm Andy Taylor.
I'm Sean DeWeird.
And I'm Justin Lemmy. Have yourselves a great holiday week. We'll see you next time.